Friends, family, fans, it's a Back Nine Bets episode with my main man, Boston Kappa, who is here to chat about some Valspar, to chat about some Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and everything in between, my friend. How are you?
I am doing well, man. It's cold down here, but ready for some golf. I'm afraid it's going to get washed out. Maybe another Monday finish. So I guess we'll see. I'm really concerned about the weather.
The weather has just not played its part this year, has it? It's just nonstop cause shit for us, and it's just we just can't get any good tournaments. We just can't finish rounds. Like trying to bet these round by round things when these guys end with five groups still on the field. It makes me want to crap myself.
Yeah, I mean, there was no excuse for the TPC either. I mean, the slow play is out of control, and it's just so, and especially when you're there, it's really annoying when you're there. It's like, fucking Christ, man, hurry up. And we were timing how long these guys were taking the lineup, their putts with the aim point. And I get it, right? They're putting for hundreds of thousands of dollars and they should concentrate on it. But at some point, man, you got to get up and hit the fucking ball.
There's deadlines, Boston. In all of our different worlds we live in, you have to get your shit done in time. If you don't, you don't. There's just no implications for these guys that don't do it quick enough, man. It's so frustrating.
I think that's a skill too, right? You should have to do it quickly, right? That's part of the skill. Reading it fast, right? Oh, I got to read this putt fast, or I'm 160 out. Where's the shelf? All right, let me grab this club. I got to go. You know what I mean? That is a skill that should be required in golf. It shouldn't be no time limit, old school baseball.
We should have a tournament, Boston, where there's no caddies or yardage books. It's just flat out old school hickory sticks and old school balls. Wouldn't that be so much fun? Watching that stuff go down.
Yeah, I would 100% watch that.
Do it at some. Do it before the Genesis Scottish Open. You do it as the third warm up.
For real. That's a great place to do it too.
Or after the Open or whatever. I think that would be
really after fun. The Open. Those boys don't want to fuck their swings up with swinging the old
with some hickories. No,
make it after the Open. Yeah, exactly.
And then the loser of all of those has to play with the hickory sticks for one round the next time they do it.
Right.
I don't know. We could make up some crazy old school league, but. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. Hopefully they can improve their shit. Once the summer rolls around, it gets a bit better. But man, it's frustrating when they're left out there. So we'll see what happens. If we get golf, we get golf. If we don't, we don't. It is what it is. We get so much golf every week anyway. It just messes up the next week so badly when you get a Monday finish. Stats don't come through. Us content oaks. We struggle to kind of get rolling when it takes its time. So. All right, bud. Let's pick your brain. I know everyone watches the sports gambling podcast, it's golf gambling podcast.
Yeah, on the sports gambling network. Yeah.
On the sports gambling network. You, by the way, are a phenomenal ad reader. I really appreciate that about you. That you get those and terms and conditions apply. You've mastered that now.
Gotta pay the bills, but also gotta get it through quickly so people don't tune out.
So let's start with that. Did you ever expect yourself to be sitting behind a computer screen speaking to Steve about how do you and Steve also connect? But speaking to Steve about golf and then reading ads like that, sometimes you just never picture yourself or what have you got up to?
No, definitely not. Right. So first of all, my 18-year-old self would be so shocked, right? Because I didn't play golf. I didn't pick up golf until my late 20s. I didn't. I've been gambling forever. I didn't pick up gambling and golf until, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, right? Probably right when I got into golf. Probably right after I got into golf, I started to bet on it, right? Because I was like, oh shit, I love this game. I play it. Look at these odds. Let's go. So I never played golf. Never thought I'd play golf. Where I grew up, it was a rich kid sport, and I was certainly not that growing up. And and so me and Steve just kind of hooked up because I was always on the Sports Gambling podcast, the network, calling into the main show. We had the Capra hotline. I used to fill in and do football DFS stuff. I was one of the first ones around and just kind of hung around and. I talk for a living, right? So that is just kind of natural, right? It's natural for me, so it doesn't bother me at all. And I'm an only child, so center of attention is always fine with me too. Just kind of broke in that way. And Steve was doing the golf stuff, and I talked to Ryan. I was like, Ryan, you guys are missing out in a space. I was like, golf is emerging, right? This was pre-pandemic too.
Yeah.
I was like, we need to get. I was like, let me and Steve do a podcast together. He was like, dude, you're out of your fucking mind. He's like, and so me and Steve talked. First one we ever did was cold. Like we hadn't really spoken. Like we texted back and forth and Slack and stuff like that. And then the first one, look, it's certainly not like it is today, but it was good enough where Ryan was like, you guys ever talked or hung out before? We're like, no. He's like, you guys get pretty natural chemistry, and just kind of rolled from there. And we have a good yin yang, right?
Yeah,
like,
very
I'm
good yin yang.
Like, yeah, like clearly the everyman, degenerate gambler side where Steve taught me like the strokes gain shit and stuff like that, because I never believed that stuff before, you know. And I'm certainly not a stat head, but they definitely factor into my decisions now way more than they did before. I feel like I've loosened Steve up and got him to bet more with his guts. As somebody who knows the golfers and knows the courses as well as he did, I was like, you can't just rely on stats, man. I was like, you use your eyeballs, use your gut. You know what's going to happen. So yeah, it was a good match, man. It's been a fun run.
I do my show right before you guys, and then I kind of I'm like downloading my podcast, like setting it all to the different stratospheres and crap like that, and kind of just calling my day a day for that. I've done all the hard work, and then I tune into you guys, and then I just hear you going at it. Like Steve just he does such a good job letting you run. Like he doesn't let you run too far away from the pack, but at the same time, he really lets those legs go. Yeah, it's so fun watching the two of you. I've obviously been on the show with you guys a few times, and it's too much fun.
Yep. Yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun. And we love having the guests that we like to talk to. And that's the nice thing about us too. It's like we only have people on who we like and who we want to talk to, right? So we're not forced to have guests on that we don't like. Because like they've approached us with certain people. I'm like, no, I'm not talking to him. Like that's not gonna be a fun show.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, it makes sense, man. You can't make friends with everybody in this world, otherwise, we wouldn't have whatever we have.
Be exhausted. We'd have no mental.
Oh my god! Yeah, it would literally be like a day in the life of Peter Malnati, like over and over and over. Just like friends with everybody. But we can maybe chat about Peter in a little bit. So you said you're not big into the stats. So then what is your process to kind of go about? Well, not big into them, but you use them now. Yeah. So what is your involvement with? How do you go about picking bets?
Yeah, I mean, so for outrights, I mean, look, I feel like anybody who does this with any type of regularity, especially people who produce content, we become pretty used to these courses. We know the type of golfers who should do well here, right? So that narrows the list most of the time anyway, right? You can chop, for the most part, 50, 60 guys off, right? Especially in these fucking 150-man garbage fields, right? So then I really factor in. I've always factored in recent form. Like I just feel like golf is such a flow game that you have most of the time these guys don't come out of nowhere and win. They're showing you something, and I feel like the stats have helped me see that past the eyeball test. Because we don't see every fucking we don't see so much golf, right? We have to rely on these things, and you just look at it's kind of like box score when you're betting in football, right? Like you just read the box score, you have no idea how that game really flowed. So now the stats going to tell you, okay, look, his irons are doing all right. He just couldn't putt. Well, I didn't expect him to putt, so maybe he's rounding the form a little bit. And stuff like that. Like that. I mean, that's really the big process. And then look, when they misprice somebody, it's just like any other betting, right? Like I'll just bet it just to bet it. I'm not a CLV guy. The people who give a shit about that can pound sand. I do not care about that. I don't care. It's my money. I'll bet it how I want. And
I love that. I love that. That's the best part about betting is you can all have your own way. You can be pedantic about your units and all that nonsense, or you can just see, hey, this is my money. I'm betting it to lose, essentially. And I don't care how I lose it. I want to lose it in the most fun possible. Exactly. And that's it. So that's the beauty about this thing. You can, and if you find yourself somewhere in the middle there, then you find yourself somewhere in the middle, which is
exactly. That's when I hated because I was first round. It was like crack cocaine to me when I first started. I mean, I love it. Like nothing better than, back then, like whatever. I think I was managing a sales team at that point and just sitting in a cubicle on fucking Thursday or the office, just watching golf and getting great sweat. Like love it. But then all the trolls be like, oh, like this is a terrible bet. I'm like, I'm aware it's a terrible bet. Like I do not care. It gives me something to do on Thursday. And sometimes I win. So it's fun.
Yeah. And you see how much fun I'm having right now? 20% of the time, that's the thing.
Miserably screaming at the screen.
I've, like the tilts are the best thing about golf is
100%.
It's also like in the NFL, there's not like there is, but there isn't like one play that can absolutely just completely, yes, a pick six and things like that, but that doesn't like end the game, depending on the time, and it does, but golf to me just has the most finite of endings. Like you can just see your guy just cruising along, just triple, like out of nowhere, water ball, miss the green, up and down, chunk the chip, make the 2 putts, and that's it, like tournament
what
over.
Happened? What happened? Yeah. You're 100% right, and that's the fun thing about it too, right? So like we get 4 full days of sweats, right? Hopefully you get 4 days worth of sweats, which is nice if all your shit's not dead on a Thursday, which does happen. But the nice thing about golf, you can live bet, exactly. and so you can
throw away even more, baby. Yeah,
exactly. Throw good money after bad. Why not? It's the sweat in golf is awesome. So my buddy Pete, he's just started to bet on golf, and he was the TPC with me, and he tailed Wyndham with me. And he was over my house on St. Patty's, and it was like his first real golf sweat. And just to watch, like, remembering what that felt like, I was just so happy. But by the way, I knew it was dead because it was his first real golf sweat. Like, I was like, we're not cashing this bet. I just want you to know that because you're sweating.
And then that putt.
Yeah, dude, like, when he lipped out, Pete let out. Pete's a big boy now. He's like 6'5", fucking 200 and change. And and he let out this fucking yell and like flipped himself back in my recliner. Thought he was gonna fucking break it. It's hilarious.
It's the best, man. And it's 4 days. You place your bet on like a Monday morning, and it cashes like a week later. It's just a crazy like enduro sweat that we really should get honored for more than
that's
like right. The guys that just throw together an 11 leg parlay on a Sunday, football. Yeah. It's still like 11 hours of football, but we go through the ringer, boys. Like golf is rough. So
absolutely. There's no more torture betting than golf. Like, and so like Match Madness just started. So we do the first half unders. I bet them all blindly first half unders. Those are pretty fucking painful too. I don't even like watching the games just because it's like I'm doing the math in my head. And I'm like, all right, so they need to do a shot every 20 seconds. This needs to slow down, and that's just miserable to me. So I place them and check the score later. Or my buddy Mush will text me and be like, it's dead. All right, sweet, thanks.
So what, just before we get into the golf stuff, like what, if you're betting like football or basketball, do you like the unders more, or do you are you a big fan of action? Like, okay, so bet the over because I want to watch
action, right? Yeah. But like I have noticed, especially the more and more these things get legal, man, the public loves some overs. So like I have a tendency, especially with props, right? Especially with props, is like I try to go under because it's funny, man, because you can see them get steamed up all week. We're receiving prop, right? It stocks out at 50 on Thursday when they drop it. By game time, it's like 62 sometimes. That's a lot of fucking value. You know what I mean? So a lot of unders on the props. Yeah, man, I golf's my favorite. I like betting on hockey probably more than football too. But yeah, football's king, right? I mean, it takes over everything. So,
like you,
and I can't watch a game and not have action on it.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing, man. You gotta have, whether it's on a player or whatever. It's just the world we live in now as a degenerate is the best. If you can keep your shit together and not like sell your house because you've gambled it all the way. Yeah, you're living the good life right now.
Yep, absolutely.
In the world of 2024. All right, Boston.
Great time to be alive. At least for gambling.
What? Say that again.
It's a great time to be alive, at least for gambling. I don't know about
at least for gambling. Correct. I think that's exactly it, man. We're going through the ringer in the rest of the world, but we've got our little virtual game that we play and bitch about Rory McIlroy and the like.
We have a little safe space on the internet.
Yeah, safe space. We do. Golf Twitter is also like the nicest out there. So, in my opinion, like I've been on Jets Twitter, the Patriots. So, boy, those can get vicious and cutthroat, boy. But
well, there's lots of, that's the other thing about golf, right? And so you're a Jets fan, you got a lifetime of scar tissue, right? So, but with golf, like there's certain golfers we have scar tissue with, but it's not like every Sunday we're like, how are they gonna fuck me this week? You know what I mean? Like it like births new hope every week, right? Because you don't have to pick the same shitty team over and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and that's the pain, is just dealing with all that stuff. It's so freaking difficult. And it's like, I think we transitioned from like the Jets season straight into the outright season where everyone was just hitting triple digit winners. Like it felt like watching the Jets over again because you knew it's going to end badly, but you didn't know how. And that's just
right.
that's like literally what a Jets game is. So, Brutal
This is
stuff.
Patriots now too, buddy.
I know. I was looking at some skill position like graphics of the four like teams in the division.
Yeah, we're the worst.
But you guys don't
have anyone.
If you don't have another good season for the rest of your life, I don't think you can be miserable.
Yeah, I'm fine. Like exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: I'm still gonna be pissed about it, right? Just because I won a bunch of championships doesn't mean, or they won a bunch of championships, doesn't mean I don't want to watch a good football team.
Correct.
I'm still miserable. I get nobody wants to hear me complain about it, but I'm still gonna complain about it.
It's fun. It's fun complaining about shit you can't control, man.
Exactly.
So that's the best part about complaining. Boston, let's chat about some golf, Okay.
Let's go.
Let's complain about some guys.
Okay.
If I were to say to you, we're going to play some back or nine, do you want to do DFS or betting, or do you want to do a bit of both?
Let's just stick to betting.
Okay. I'm fine with that. We can. So even if you've bet these guys, haven't bet these guys, I'm going to give you two options. You got to bet one or not the other. Back one or say nine, German, no for the other. Just in case someone's like watching and
that's fine.
Has a toss up between the two. Maybe that helps him out. All right. So let's start off with the two favorites, Sam Burns and Xander Schauffele. Let's do a top 10. Now, Xander's at minus 110 and Burns is at 165 plus. Man.
Yeah, I'm backing Xander there just because he's so fucking steady. And Burns, as you can see, he completely blew up on Sunday to screw me out of a pretty hefty Tommy Fleetwood matchup, head-to-head matchup. I was livid.
He's been doing that shit.
It's just so steady.
So what do you think about Xander in the wind? I know me and Steve were texting about this and
it's a little worrisome. It's a little worrisome. But it's funny, Steve brought it up. So when he won in Scotland, it was wicked windy, and the week before as well. But then since then, he's been terrible in it. So I'll take the consistency. It's not like Burns is any good in the wind either. You know what I mean? So I'll take Xander.
I was taking a peek at Sam Burns' stuff today, kind of because I only had to write about 2 guys in my article versus 10 and 8 the last 2 weeks. So I could finally just like sit back, relax, and just type up some fun stuff. Sam Burns, dude, at this golf course putting, it's otherworldly.
It's insane. I
took a peek, and for anyone across all 4 major categories, approach off the tee, around the green, putting, I filtered over. You have to have 20 rounds at a specific venue or event.
Okay.
Sam Burns has only got one other person that has gained more strokes at a specific tournament. The venue changes, but at a specific tournament, this person has gained more strokes on approach, 1.8 per round over the last 20 on approach. Who is this person? Not playing in this tournament.
On approach.
And the tournament is US Opens.
Oh, it's US Opens? So it's Brooks, right?
Hideki Matsuyama at US Opens strikes the shit out of his irons. Like there's no better metric than his approach play across the board for 20 starts. I couldn't believe what I was seeing there, but it makes tons of sense. Thick cabbage, he's really good out of that stuff. So Sam Burns, second to Hideki in putting, with Hideki's irons out there. So that to me just seems like I would go to that nonstop. And I think I trust Sam a bit better in the wind than Xander. I don't know.
That's fair. And then Burns, so if you look at it, it's the same exact putting surface that Sawgrass has now too. And he putted well this past weekend. It was his iron play that fucked him. And there's not as much danger around this course. Although the snake pit's pretty bad.
He just plays this course so well. There's, I think, hole number 2, Boston. He hasn't made a bogey in 20 rounds of golf.
Was that you? Was that you who put it out on Twitter? I saw it. Yeah, I was like, you gotta be kidding.
I was like, all right, let's take a look at these bogey odds on this. Guy hasn't made a bogey in 20 rounds, and there's a massive pond like yards away from the fairway. I don't know how he's not hit it in there, and he's taken it on multiple times. I went and checked last year. Hit driver like 335 over the dog leg.
All right.
And I don't know. So we'll have to see what he gets up to. I just like him at this golf course, but Xander and Scotty in particular, if you've just been betting top 10s on those 2 guys right now, you are printing money. Printing.
I love that. I love that you put that out too. I love the tracking. What's the most profitable top 20, I love that shit. That is so awesome.
It's helped me understand, like, okay, just because there's guys finishing inside the top 40, 50% or more, doesn't matter. Like, some of his odds are too shit to kind of return it at that rate anyway. You know, like you can see if you're actually making money off that kind of bet or not. So it's been eye-opening, you know, like Doug Gim.
Dougie.
Like he's only had one top 10 in forever, but he's every third start is a top 20, you know, the last little while.
Yeah, I know.
It's just, I don't understand how he finds his, you know, it's crazy. So we'll figure out some two other guys here, Boston. Let's go with like top 5.
Okay.
Thomas, Jordan Spieth, plus 330 for JT and plus 400. Yeah, looking at the bet the number grid over here. Back or 9? Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, top 5.
All right. So unfortunately, you picked like my least favorite golfer. I cannot back JT. I didn't like him prior. Like he took Keegan's spot, and I made myself suffer through that Netflix thing last night. Like I was so angry. I was so angry watching it. It brought back all the feelings. I bet him to miss the cut this week just for hope. He should play well here, and he seems like it's every other stat with him right now when he's trying to figure some stuff out. And Jordan Spieth is just, yeah. I mean, I'd like to not bet either of them, but just out of principle, I would bet Spieth because I refuse to bet JT. Weaseling his way onto the Ryder Cup team because he had dinner with Zach Johnson and their friends. Gross.
I was laying in my bed, Boston, and just I was like, and I think it's right after the Tom Kim episode. So like you come out of this
right after.
Yeah, it comes after this like happy wonderland, unicorns and rainbows with Tom Kim, and then it's immediately like. That comes with great expectations. You know, like you see Zach Johnson on the couch. I just want to like shit my pants, just looking like, you know, like I invested so much time in that article and everything. And then he literally goes out and does the exact opposite shit that we're expecting him to do. It made me want to rip things out. Like, and the worst part is you're sitting there at like 3:30 in the morning. Your wife's like sleeping next to you and you're just like fuming, you know, like fuming.
I was pacing. I was angrily tweeting last night. So, you know, I typically don't go on like tweet rants, right? I was hot last night about it. Yeah. So hot.
So you watched it last night. It's great. You know, it's good. Much better now that they've explained all the basic stuff. You know, season 1 kind of got that out the way. Yeah. I think it's only going to get better if they can figure it out. To me, less Joel Damon and call it a day. I like that. But
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. So my option for these two would probably be Justin Thomas for a top 5. But, you know, who the heck knows between these two guys? I mean, Spieth's head is just all over the place. We'll see. We've got a few Spieth comps going on here for Always Sunny. So we'll see what cooks there. All right. two more guys, and then we're going to keep cruising down into the 8s. We got Brian Harman and Cam Young. Brian Harman recently just found the best iron play ever. I think I checked it out since 2017. His week last week at the Players was the 89th best strokes gained week in like history.
Really?
Since 2017, at least. You know,
how about
like,
that?
That I have numbers to, like 30,000 rounds of golf. He's like that was an 89th best approach week by anyone. And that was without it being like trued up. You know, I think if you go and take a look at data golf, it says he gained like 10. He gained 9, you know, raw. So that field being that good, obviously that's cruised up there a little bit better. It's the best by 3 shots. He's never gained more than 6. So just some interesting stats there for you guys. But Brian Harman, Cam Young, top 20. Plus 115, plus 140 for Cam Young.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was going to ride Harman with the form. I was amazed he didn't make that fucking putt on 18, and he didn't, and he killed himself on the par 5s on Sunday. And listen, I'm not a Harman guy. I usually don't bet him. But yeah, I mean, look, Young seems to be finding it a little bit. Like he's getting there, but I feel like he's just like he's not putting 4 rounds together. There's one bad round in every weekend for him. It seems like that makes him fall out of that top 20. And Harman's pretty consistent. But you're right. Like the approach play, man, like, I don't know. He's obviously not going to keep that up, but because he putts so well, I feel like he always kind of keep himself in it. And this isn't an extra long track. So yeah, I think it'll be fun.
So which one are you going with?
Oh, Harman. Sorry.
Harman. No, that's fine. Yeah. I was just curious. I kind of just try to lead you down the Harman road there, just off the irons. But Cam Young, he had those like back-to-back top 20s. And then I bet him for a top 20 at API where he's had back-to-back top 20s.
Yep.
freaking like
Yeah,
36th,
eject.
you know, just oh, bro. So we'll see. Okay, let's do. Here we go.
All right.
Eric Cole, Keegan Bradley. Let's do top 30 plus 120 plus 110.
Yeah, I mean, so what's crazy is neither one of them are in good form right now, right? And Eric Cole, man, that was somebody who was playing really well all last year. He played a ton of events, grinded on the mini tour down here in Florida. Seems like the perfect Florida golfer, but it seems like the fairy dust is kind of off. I bet him to win at the API, I think, coming off a missed cut because it was like 120 to 1. And I was like, oh, dude, we were just betting this guy at 30 to 1.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take a shot. And he almost, I think he top 25, top 30.
T21.
Yeah. But Keegan's got a pretty good history here. He should have won this thing. God, that was painful. But yeah, Keegan's not really in good form right now either. No. This is a tough one. I'll trust the course history with Keegan versus the magic fairy dust maybe being off of Cole.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting situation. Yeah, because the reason I went with like a T30 is because that's kind of their range right now. Exactly. You know, like if they have a decent week based off how they've been playing, that's going to be where they find themselves. Cole to me is interesting because he's now been playing in a bit more elevated events, designated events, signature events, what do you want to call them?
Yep.
But it's just like only been a few bad rounds on Florida courses. You know, like hasn't, you know, like we really got off him quickly. I bet the guy, I think at plus 180 for a top 20. You know, I think.
Yeah, I'm fine with that because like I was a Cole guy. Like I obviously I didn't know who the fuck he was until he lost in that playoff. But I've been pretty steady betting him since then. And like you said, everybody got off him so fast.
So fast.
After one miscut in Florida, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, so I think I bet him at the players too. Just because. Like,
yeah. I will never bet him to win a tournament ever because I don't know if he can, you know, but I will bet the shit out of his top fives, you know, when he starts playing better again, because that's where he kind of vibes. So he's been very interesting. I hope he can bounce back. I think in DFS as well, he's the first guy outside of Minwoo Lee who gets like single digit ownership, you know, in this high upper range here. So to me,
because Minwoo Lee can smoke you fast with a couple bad. He is so loose with his fucking irons, unbelievable. He's terrifying to bet on.
He's terrified. I bet Brian Harmon against him in a matchup this week. I'm going to have fun. You know, like he's going to be hitting shots out of his ass to like 4 feet on 220-yard cabbage patch approach shots. And just it's going to drive me nuts. But he's not a good golfer, Minwoo Lee. You know, he's talented. He's talented, but he's not cut out for the PGA Tour yet. Yeah. Like
he's a young kid. Isn't Minwoo? He's pretty young.
Yeah. I have no idea how young. I mean, I would say he's not even nearly in his 30s yet. So,
I don't think so. Yeah, I still think he's in his 20s.
Yeah,
so, everybody looks at the 20s at me at this point, though.
No, I'm envious, buddy. I am envious. Okay, let me see. I've got a few more names for you. Yeah,
right, what you got?
Some guys by the name of. Let's go with Jimmy Stanger and Kevin Yu for a top 30. Plus 300 for
Stanger's been pretty friggin' consistent, man. And he was playing in big boy events. Yeah.
Let's make it top 40 because Stanger would check the box really nicely if you take a look at what he's got up to. Like, I mean, his 3 starts have been all top 40s. And there's a Puerto Rico T3 over here too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just think he's consistent. And if I'm betting like top 40, top 30 markets, I'm not playing upside, right? I'm playing for steady eddies. And he was not steady Eddie. No, so just he seems like he's in that group right now. Yeah. So I think it's pretty plus 170 for a top 40. That's a pretty good fucking price.
Yeah, I would say so too. I think that's a very nice option now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the way to go there. Would you go Kevin Yu top 10 at plus 900 or Jimmy Stanger top 10 at plus 1200?
Oh, I go you for the ceiling. I go top 10 for he's the boomer bust, man. I mean, you know how it is. You know, it's which golfers are first or last, right? The Ricky Bobbies.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You know, we was chatting about Gim and his like 4% top 10 rate, but 35% top 20 rate. Right. Kevin Yu, 30% top 40 rate.
Yeah.
20% top 10 rate.
That's wild. Dude, that's wild.
That is a wild stat.
That is wild.
It's literally like a comet that just comes flying through the atmosphere, and if it can like hit land, it hits land and lands, but it fizzles out fast, dude.
Dude, that is wild. I did not know that. That's crazy.
I know.
9-1. That's not bad. I might sprinkle a little something on that.
Yeah, I think at 9-1 for a top 10, he's literally doing it like one every 5 times.
Yeah, why not?
It's like crazy. So we'll see what he get. Like he always just shows up. It's like, oh, here's Kevin Yu in the top of the leaderboard if he's playing the tournament. Like, it's crazy to see. All right, one more thing here, and then let's get out. Right. Seamus Power or Ben Silverman? Let's do another. Just straight up. Whatever.
I'm taking Silverman. I bet Seamus at 200-1 just because I'm like, he's 200-1 at Seamus Power. Who knows? But Silverman's definitely feel like steadier and better form, right? Yeah.
So. Silverman's got 2 20s.
Yeah, so I'm taking Silverman if we're going head to head on that. It is crazy what's happened to Seamus. I mean, Jesus, man, what a fall! Like, unbelievable.
Injuries. He was one of my favorite golfers to bet top 20s. I think at one point he had like 7 top 20s in an 8 event stretch.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, just I think got hurt, and that's the thing.
Oh, he did get injured, didn't he? I forgot about that.
And these guys sometimes the hip in particular is what causes the biggest shit for these guys. So
that's what happened to before Gary had his brain tumor, where he tore his hip. Like that's insane. And
Harris English as well, didn't he have some sort of like these guys in their hips? So we'll see what happens, but let's chat some hacking it in Hollywood.
Right,
so why did you choose to go with Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
So I love Always Sunny. My 2 favorite comedies of all time are, probably of all time, Always Sunny, and then I love Curb. Curb Your Enthusiasm is great. And I just feel like Always Sunny is so sharply written. And so I've watched this since the beginning, where you don't really know why these awful people are all together and keep doing awful things. And it's just funny. They keep getting worse and worse and worse as humans as these seasons go on. I love Danny DeVito. It's I just love the show. I feel like it's so sharply written. Like, these guys write good stuff. I mean, it's just one of these things that I started watching way back in the day, and I've fallen in love with. And I was pissed when it was like 8 episodes this past season. I was like, this is ridiculous. So I was like, come on, guys, you got to pump up more than that.
That's the thing about this stuff, is it's so good. Me and Caitlin started watching it, and then like the first 4 episodes, they hit like 4 absolute like no topics, and I'm like, this is what this show's about. It's like they are not like, if you're a faint-hearted individual with like
don't watch this show.
Thin skin, this show is not for you. So,
but it is funny because they do some like decent social commentary on it, and like I would say, the last like probably I would say 3 seasons ago, they had some like real like, oh shit, like they're really tackling this issue, and they make it in a funny way.
Yes,
because the show is so absurd, the situations they're in, but but that's why it's so sharp, right? They're addressing the absurdity of whatever issue it is, and I love the show. I love it. I mean, I watch everything that these guys are now, like the Apple show that. What's Rickety Cricket's on now, and Mac, and I love all that stuff.
I haven't watched much of it. I was crash coursing it pretty much the last few days since we did, but you can just tell, like, you just watch literally a few minutes of this, you can tell exactly which character is which and how they go about it. So we're going to start off with a bunch of characters that aren't necessarily like the most familiar with, but two epic individuals. I think the guy on the left there, the McPool, number one, McBoyles. He's some good character in other shows and things. So
he's solid. Yeah. So I mean, if you just look at Bo Hostler and look at the other McBoyle, I mean, that is close. I mean, I always make fun of Bo Hostler for how he looks, and that is exactly what I pictured. So I picked on Berger a little bit. So just so everybody knows, like, I thought it was just golf was on this tournament, but Berger can definitely fit that. Berger says, so these guys like drink milk, that's their big thing, and they're like gross, like inbred they have sex with their sisters, and like
oh god, okay,
the giant eyebrows, unibrows, and things like that. I could absolutely picture Berger being like that if he wasn't in pro golf. Like, if he just let himself go, he could absolutely be a McBoyle. He seems like a guy who drinks milk.
He does, like a mix between this guy and Anchorman, just brutal, like hygiene and letting himself just showing up on his boat, just completely just milk down the beard, and and he doesn't have necessarily the hairline is also very very much on point there too.
Yes, yes, the receding hairline. I almost went with Jordan with him.
Yeah, yes,
Because
very, very, very close. Yeah, I've always had an issue with how Bo Hosler looks. I just can't.
He's so odd looking. It's like
I don't know, man.
It's off-putting.
It is. It's off-putting, buddy. It's really off-putting, and I don't understand it. And then when he plays well, like everyone gets so excited about him just through the first 3 rounds, and then inevitably he just does the thing, like that Bo Hosler does.
I've never been a Bo guy.
Neither have I, but I'm looking for a reason to go there. All right, I'm up. My first name was D.
Love it.
As John D. Lee, the good old John Daly. Just from appearance, they got the same haircut. At one point in their life, John, avid smoker. Like the guy. No one makes smoking on the golf course cooler than John Daly.
This is true.
And then I think John, at one point in his life, kind of showed up with a cut across his cheek after his wife completely just took a slash at him, right?
Yeah.
Still went and played the golf round. To me, that's just kind of D. I'm gonna show up and do my stuff, but don't piss me off. I just want to do it in my fun, chilled out way. Whether it's trashy, whether it's with multiple cigarettes and beers in my hand, life is life. I'm gonna get it done.
D gets picked on a lot. Her brother constantly picks on her. We call her the bird. Stupid bird, shut up.
Yeah. But from what I watch, she's quite ferocious when she gets into the heat of the battle.
She is. Right? She matches the boys.
Yeah. Definitely.
She's married to McElhaney in real life.
To who?
To McElhaney, Rob McElhaney, the guy who plays Mac.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're married in real life.
Wow, that's crazy. That's probably from this, right? I mean,
yeah, they met.
That's wild. That's such a funny combo to kind of think about as well.
Yeah.
You had D as well there, Boston. Let's chat about why Jordy is D in this situation.
Yeah, so big, tall, stupid bird, right? I feel like Jordan thinks he's smarter than he is, and D definitely thinks she's smarter than he is. When Jordan started talking about private equity and things like that, I was like, listen, man, just because you wear a Goldman Sachs hat doesn't mean you understand finance by osmosis. And I was just these guys who just talk out of them, they just irritate me. And D says dumb shit all the time and is 100% committed to it. And that to me is Jordan. And look, Jordan seems like a nice enough guy, but yeah, he doesn't strike me as the brightest guy either.
No, I definitely think if he had this harness on the golf course, he'd play better golf, or at least mentally or emotionally, but maybe not emotionally. I think just mentally. I think having 2 kids as well has pretty much ruined Jordan. Consistency
kids can do that, man. Kids can win.
It's hey, whatever the deal is, you do your thing. But I mean, it seems like his life was hanging on by a thread to start off with before having kids, in my opinion. And now it's just Jesus Christ, Jordan, playing great one day, the next day, got 10 shot swings between rounds, multiple
roller
times.
Coaster, man.
It's
roller coaster.
I don't understand it either. All right. Next up is the lawyer and Xander.
Yes. So I know they say he's sneaky funny, but he seems like the one who would probably be super irritated. So the lawyer is always irritated when the crew comes in and they're trying to pull something. He seems like the guy who absolutely gets annoyed with anybody who's trying to be funny around him that aren't funny or trying to pull some shit. And he just seems annoyed. And he seems like the one who will call it out too, because that's what the lawyer does as well. He'll just call it out. I feel like Xander, I don't know. Xander just to me seems like no nonsense and would absolutely, he just calls people out on their shit would be what I was playing. Victor would have been a good one there. Victor, or even Berger, really.
Berger.
Berger's another one.
I think I had Berger as Saul Goodman for when Steve
I can see that.
Just kind of, taking care of business there. And Xander, I don't know, the lawyer seems, I think obviously a lawyer in a show like this will have his insecurities and
he's a straight man, but he has some funny ass lines.
Yeah. And that's exactly Xander. He's so serious on the golf course, but just looking for pictures of him earlier for the show.
Yeah.
There's so many photos of him smiling and got his mouth open, versus this particular pose was very difficult to find, which doesn't make sense. Every time we see him on camera, it's this mopey, lifeless guy, he's had half his soul sucked out prior to the round, but I don't understand, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully he can get a win soon, but someone who doesn't lack soul, who doesn't lack zest or passion is Frank, who I compared to Ian Poulter. Now, the looks obviously not necessarily going to be there, but just from, I have another fiery character coming up for Mac, but he was either going to play this role or that. To me, Ian Poulter, I mean, the guy is just a character, right? Like, he at times can't get out of his own way. At times, he's the star of the show, and just when he's firing on all cylinders, he's firing on all cylinders. You know, loves, you know, the Ryder Cup and stuff like that, where Frank, and boy, oh boy, man, it can go well, and then it just out of nowhere just gets in his way, and shit goes south, and he reacts accordingly, right? So, two very passionate individuals. Do you have any extra?
Yeah, I also say, so Frank is always up to some sort of scheme. So when Frank gets introduced to the show, he has a ton of money, right? And he's got all these different businesses, all this shady shit like sweatshops and all these weird deals and things like that. And I can absolutely see Poulter running some shady businesses on the side and scheming for more cash. I mean, look, he went to live for a bag, right? So why not? Yeah, I like that. I like Poulter for that. It's funny.
I love it. Yeah, thank you for adding a little extra there, because I mean, Frank, I didn't realize showed up. I've just always assumed this was Frank. You know?
Yeah, no. So he's the slow. So there's a couple guys who've had like really like pretty big declines, and Frank's one of them. So,
okay, so times are tough over there for Frank, and I feel like Poulter as well. I think I saw someone say a legendary. I mean, obviously any live stuff is going to be contentious, but legendary live star Ian Poulter. And then I think I saw someone quote there's like career best live finish T8, like 2021 or something ridiculous. It's like, where has it been? He just has not translated well. So we'll have to wait and see what Poulter gets up to. He's always been one of my favorite people to watch. Like I just love Poulter.
I loved watching him in match play, man. He was always fun to watch because he just needles everybody.
That's the thing, like imagine Xander had that kind of ability down the stretch, dude. It'd be scary because he's just too good. Let's bring up some scar tissue here.
Yeah, so look, I'm gonna completely pivot on this because Dennis is absolutely Patrick Cantlay. So
okay.
100%. So like I said, I was like, I guess I'll go Keegan because I like Keegan. That kind of looks similar, right? But personality wise, Cantlay is 100% Dennis. Dennis is insanely full of himself. He thinks he is just the gift to women, gift to everybody. And there's a arc where they think he's a serial killer, and he keeps showing all these insane sociopath tendencies. And that's what I call Cantlay. I call him a serial killer because he's an emotionless robot out there. Yes. And so as cocky as Cantlay is and the serial killer vibes he puts out, Dennis, that's the easiest one of them all. Like Cantlay is definitely Dennis.
And Dennis is the guy that often like says, by the power of 10 Zeus waves, like he like channels that inner like weird stuff every now and then.
You're golden god.
I can totally see Canty just getting like so triggered that he starts like casting mythological spells on you. I can totally see Canty being one of those wackos as well.
Yes,
but
love it.
Serial killer vibes, 100% getting that from what you may call it.
Yes.
Next up, Mac, and this would for when I did it with Ian for Seinfeld. The dad, George Senior. I used Sergio as George,
I can see that.
And I really wanted to go with Sergio for Frank because it's basically the same character. And
it's true.
It is what it is. I went with Ian Poulter there, but Sergio would have been a great replacement. I think Mac as well, ferocious. He's always been doing his thing. Can lose his shit and get very angry. And
what's funny is Mac goes from being like super religious. He ends up like hooking up with like a trans girl to ending up going back to being religious and then coming out as gay. And it's a hell of a story arc. And I think that's what all his inner turmoil was. And Mac is hilarious because he did a fat season where he got super fat, and then he did a jack season where he was like super jacked. And
he's that's awesome.
Mac is something, man. I even watched because of McElhaney. I watched that stupid soccer show. I like it. I got into it. I don't like soccer at all, but
the Ted Lasso.
No. Well, I do watch that too, but
okay.
No, him and Ryan Reynolds bought a soccer team in Wales,
Okay.
and it follows the story. It's really good, man. It's a ton about like the town people and like what that soccer team means to them.
Mhm.
I just got sucked in for the human story aspect of it.
That's pretty
But I
cool,
followed it
dude.
because I love McElwain. He's hilarious.
I love guys that just do that kind of shit, and it's like they're not doing it to like make money. You know, they're probably
No.
just doing it like that town now. You know, like it's
Yeah.
their little bottom of
Yep.
the heart, bottom of the barrel
Yep.
stuff. All right, Boston. You also win with Mac, and you have Sam Burns. I believe.
Yeah, and so kind of similar looking, right?
Yes.
Burns is also super religious, so I went with that one as well. So who knows what's going to happen with Sam Burns down the line? But yeah, yeah. I mean that like I said, that's who I was pulling from this tournament. I do think they look rather similar. Now Burns is a hell of a lot taller than Rob, but yeah, that's pretty much just the religious angle of it.
Dude, him and Scotty both. You know, they are just right there together, and hey, it works. I mean, between the two of them, they got like what 13, 14 different titles. So
fucking crazy.
It's kind of bizarre, man. I don't understand how they freaking. It's just some people. They just have it or they don't, man. And that's the crazy part about golf.
That's it.
Crazy part about golf, crazy golfers. I know this is a bit of a throwback for some people that may not even know who Mo Norman is, but I compared him to Charlie. Charlie, I mean, when you know that GIF that's got like the red freaking cotton, and he's just like full on tripped. Yeah, he's so over the edge and gone that it's just like, okay, what are we doing? He always seems to see things the opposite way. You know, it's like a life through this guy's eyes must just be
it's insanity.
A world of disaster and bliss. You know, I don't know what to tell you. Mo Norman.
Yeah. And they made him dumber and dumber as the season goes on. Yeah, it's hilarious. He didn't start out as dumb. But yeah, like he huffs paint.
Didn't he drink paint as well?
Oh yeah, drink his face off, huffs paint. Yeah, lives with Frank. Him and Frank live in a rundown apartment together. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Tough scenes for sure. Hey, but you know they seem like they can get along quite fine.
They do. Yes.
Mo Norman, Boston. Tell me what you know about Mo.
I don't know anything about Mo Norman. Who is that?
So Mo Norman, back in the day, he was one of the most like eccentric golfers out there. He developed like a one plane golf swing that he just could hit on demand and on repeat.
Really?
But his like mental capacity was never like 100. He's like Jordan Spieth of that era.
Okay.
You know, just with like 5 kids.
Yeah.
He would tee off with a pitching wedge and then hit driver onto the green. Or he would be leading a tournament by multiple shots, purposely hit it in the bunker, leave his ball in the bunker, and then force himself to get up and down to win it, and would. Like, just psycho baller shit that like was going on before our time that people don't know this about Mo Norman. And it's just like, he stands on the tee box. He says, driver, pitching wedge, pitching wedge, driver, I think, you know, and that's how his mind works. And he'd hit pitching wedge and then hit driver onto the green, dude. So to me, if there's any person that can do that, it's Charlie, and just completely unhinges himself out of this world. You know, no concept of reality is my version there. So
that is there. Charlie has no his concept of reality is very skewed. And what's funny is sometimes he'll just come out of the woodwork and he hit something completely on the head, and because he's so dumb, everybody just dismisses him. which is fucking hilarious. Yeah, obviously very, very similar looking. That's why I kind of just went with that one. I'm trying to think of who else would be like Charlie. So I think maybe like Scott Piercy, right? Mr. QAnon himself. Ooh. You know, his worldview compared to everybody else's is a little wacky. And he thinks he's right about everything, just like Charlie does. So I think Piercy is probably, if I have the scope of all the golfers, I think Piercy is probably a good pick for Charlie.
So you went ahead and made all the golfers for the people playing at the Valspar this week, which I appreciate. But now that's why we're giving you some poetic license to kind of stray off the beaten path here. You know who I think would also be
Cam Young seems normal and boring, doesn't he?
Who? Cam
Young. He just seems normal and boring. Just another boring guy.
I guess so. but I can totally see Cam Young having a basement that looks like that wall of Charlie.
Oh yeah, I can probably see
like
that too.
with his golf swing and all that stuff. I can see him being a complete psycho.
Yeah.
I had another guy that I was kind of thinking about, Charlie, that just like I wanted to say Taylor Gooch, but like he doesn't say enough smart stuff too often. Charlie says it, way too often. But it's just wild what this guy, like, is he your favorite character at all, or do you have a favorite character?
Man, it's the whole group. Like, I would say who I enjoy most is probably Dennis. Like, Dennis is just so funny. He's insane. Like, and he bosses the group around, and there's his story arcs with the serial killer and just the ego and the trick. Like, and he's like, I would say he's the leader of the group, right? Like, he leads. He definitely he tricks Mac and bullies Mac all the time. He's mean to D. Frank probably holds all the power because he still has money. Even though he lives like he does, he still has the money. And Charlie is just like, I love Charlie, but I would say Dennis is my favorite.
It's just like watching the best moments, dude. It was the way things just escalate, like
0 to
rapid, like 0 to 100, like and still going. Like it just does not stop. So, did you have like any particular favorite scenes or like an episode or two where I probably could have asked you this beforehand, but.
No, that's fine. So like the Dennis system is probably my favorite episode of like the older ones. And it's basically like how he tricks all these beautiful women to coming back with him. And it's just like degrade. I don't remember what it is, but it's like degrade, enhance. It's just like beating them down and tricking them emotionally. And as you're going through it, the way it reveals itself to be very, very troubling. Like, it's almost like rape. And there's this one point, there's this one scene where they're in a hardware store and they have a boat. And he was talking about like trying to get the girl to have sex with him. And he's like, or because you have the implication of going overboard. He's like, I wouldn't throw him overboard. He's like, it's the implication. I was like, holy shit, that's dark. You know what I mean? They talk about date rape. I like the last episode I really identified with, literally the last episode Dennis was in. He locked himself out of his Tesla, had to download an app, had to deal with customer service, had to go get a new phone and download another app. And he's like, this is the 9th app I've had to deal with today. And like, can I just do anything without a fucking app? And like, it was pretty funny. That one I identified with a lot. There's so many good ones. All the Ricky Cricket episodes are great.
And they still going?
They're trying to chase out.
They still rocking and rolling with him, Boston?
Yeah, man. Yeah, they put out, I guess probably about a year ago at this point. They put out the last season. I think they're gonna do at least one more. But I mean, look, they're all doing movies and shit now. Like Dennis did that Blackberry movie where he got like people talked about him getting like an Oscar nod for it. Charlie's directing all these movies. Mac's doing soccer clubs, and he's got a new Apple show. Yeah, Danny DeVito's Danny DeVito. So I mean, they're all pretty busy. So hopefully they get one more season. If not, it's still a great fucking run.
Yeah, I was shocked to hear that you said there was still like it going on. Now limited episodes, but pretty cool. That's a long period of time. Like watching the first season is, when did it like come out? Like 2000?
Oh shit, yeah, I feel like at least 20 years ago. Yeah, and what's funny is that first season's so bad, and like when Frank comes on, is like if you've never seen Always On, you can just skip season 1 and just start season 2.
Okay,
you really could. Okay. Like I know you like some of the first episodes because they are shocking. What's the first episode's the one where D brings the black guy to the bar and they all freak out.
It's just like racism, cancer, bang, like just gay, like it's just. First 4 episodes, just all on the table.
Yeah, the one where Mac pretends to be pro-life to try to get with chicks at abortion rallies. That was a good one. Just dark subject, man.
I don't know, man. It would be crazy to see this kind of shit unfold in our own lives, and I'm sure it does somewhere. But
wild shit,
wild stuff. All right, buddy.
All right, man.
Hit the people up. I know you guys pretty much done all your shows, obviously.
Yep. All done. We'll be dropping the preview on Sunday night for next week. And then I got the betting show on Tuesday. Steve's not going to be there. I don't know who the hell's going to be with me. Somebody will be there. But I don't even know what the hell Steve's doing, but he's not going to be around. So you can follow me on Twitter, Boston_Capper, Golf Gambling Pod. Super easy to find, man.
Awesome stuff, man. Lots of fun chatting.
Always.
Sunny. I
Always.
wish I had watched a few more episodes, but
Yeah, man, you got to get into it.
Now.
You'll dig the show. I'm telling you. Pick it up. It's a good show.
Yeah, my favorite part about this is doing all the binge watching of random things like The Sopranos. Yeah. I've never watched that, and I've now finally got to the end of it.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah, so that's the greatest show in television history.
Yeah, me and Joe Nicey will be breaking down The Sopranos here soon, so that will be a fun time.
Nice.
And
because that was my go-to, and I saw it on the list. I was very disappointed.
I know. I'm sorry, I got you in late. You know, that's the thing. It's going to make you really dig deep to find, but Joe's a good one.
It's been comedy. It's been comedy because all the good drama shows were on The Wire, Sopranos. I could have went I like offbeat shit that I really like, but nobody is fucking seeing, like The Deuce, who's made by David Simon, who did The Wire. That's like my top 5 dramatic shows ever, but nobody watches it.
The Deuce.
Great. Yeah, it's called The Deuce. It's about the Times Square area in the 70s into the 80s. So it deals with like everything, right? Like Stonewall riots, AIDS epidemic, drugs, prostitution. Because Times Square used to be literally like the hellhole, and it follows these characters around and kind of shows what happens through New York. And yeah, I just really dug the show. Really well acted, really well written. So yeah, The Deuce. If anybody wants to check out, it's only 4 seasons. So it's not a big time commitment either.
That's nice. It's not, but it's good, at the same time. All right, I'll add that to the list too, dude. Like, it's crazy to see different people's opinions on series and shows and their taste. And I never pegged you at all to be you pretty into shows. Joe Idoni couldn't come onto it and speak about a recent show or anything. We were going to do wrestling, So
you got to figure. So I had my first kid at fucking 20, right? So I've been. It's not like I had a chance to go out. My kids are 20, 17, 10, and 8, right? So lots of nights like, all right, what's the next show we're gonna put on? Me and my wife hanging out, you know what I mean? That's what we did. Play cards, watch shows. Like so young kids keep you at home. So you see a lot of shows. And I'm a night owl, man. Like I'll run on no sleep. So like I will purposely be miserable the next day to watch a show that I want to watch.
Yes. Dude, can you go to bed listening to a show or
only shows I've already seen?
Yes.
Or like a docu-series show, like a First 48. Don't want to fall asleep to that one. That was pretty dark. But yeah. Like I usually fall asleep. What I've been doing lately is I've been falling asleep to like books. I was about to say books on tape to show my age, but audiobooks. But that's I got to stop because I never remember where the hell I left off at, and it takes me 20 minutes to find my spot, which is annoying. So now I just try to listen to like a podcast to fall asleep.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting way to do it too. I've been kind of just leaning into. I've always done it, just shows that I've watched already, like a lot. I can like picture the thing going on in my head, and then it.
Yep, and then so you can close your eyes. Exactly,
because
I can't
numbers and shit all day.
Yeah, new shows no, because I want to see the next episode, and that's why.
It's bad, dude. Like you can land up, you just go to bed at like 4:30 in the morning, and like, okay, I'll get an hour and a half quickly before we have to wake up. Yep. But hey, I powered through that whole season one night.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, dude. All right, we'll get you back on for the Valley next year and come up with a different show or two and have a good time chatting as always, Boston. That was too much fun, buddy. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
Always. All right, boys and girls, we'll catch you guys next week. Oh, actually, this week I'll be doing the Sunday night research stream late at like 8 Central, 9 Eastern, whatever. I'll put the tweet out there. It's going to be a late night. We're going to have a fun time. All right, folks. Peace.